Most people, including myself, when you get into real estate, you don't realize that prospecting is even part of your job. It is a very harsh reality that sets in quickly, and you're like, wow, this stinks.
3, 2, 1. Seeking the best, being my best. Do do da 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 da. Seeking the best, seeking the best, seeking the best, 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 best.
Welcome to Seeking the Best, the podcast for growth-minded real estate agents seeking clarity, focus, and a better way forward. I'm your host, Kathryn Stelljes, and sitting across from me is my co-host, sound engineer, producer extraordinaire, Fatica.
Good morning, everybody.
It is bright and early, ready to do this thing.
Yep.
Talk more about lead generation, everyone's favorite subject when it comes to real estate.
Real quick before we get started, just so I can say, if you guys are just listening to the audio version of this, you can go to Spotify or YouTube and watch the video.
Yeah. And you can see my new glasses.
Yep. Kat's wearing new glasses today.
Well, and I say new glasses, like I've never had glasses before.
Right. First class, new glass. First class,
new glass. Never had glasses before. I'm getting old. And so I was finding myself like, taking my phone. And if I was looking at my phone, I was like moving it further away to be able to read it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I should probably do something about that.
And you were right. You needed glasses.
Now, in fairness, she did say like, it's just an age thing. And it was like, you don't have to have glasses, but you probably should. And I do see the difference. And I'm glad I went ahead and did it.
Yeah.
Because probably another year of that, and I would have been like, I can't see anything.
Right.
It was a fast decline. It was it's all downhill from here, I think. But anyways, so I'm wearing my new glasses so that I can see, see my notes and see you.
Instead of doing this.
Yeah. But we're talking about lead generation this season. And we started with my favorite sphere, past clients, repeat business.
If you have to have a favorite, sure.
Well, it should be everyone's favorite because as we've talked about, it is like your long-term career. It's going to be the one that matters most. It's going to be your biggest source of business. It always is. You can ask any successful agent that's been in business for a period of time, like longer than a year or two, and that is their biggest source of business. And it makes total sense, like logically, when you think about it. Of course it does. They're the people that already knew you and trust you. And now when you do business with people and they become your past clients, well, they're also become your sphere because now you have influence over them and the people they know. And you can keep growing that group of people. And they're always going to be the biggest supporters because they know you, like you, trust you. And then we talked about open houses and another one of my favorites. Well, not anymore, but it was when in my early career, one of the ways I got started in sales is having the ability to stand in a room and have people come talk to you with a real estate need. I mean, there's no other opportunity like that in our business.
Not unless you have floor duty, have one of those brokerages where you're in a lot of foot traffic and people randomly walk in.
Wow. Yeah. Most people don't know what floor duty is.
Yeah.
But yeah, floor duty where you just, you sit in your office and people come in. But even that is,
I'm sure listeners, you guys have all been to small towns. If you have never, and whenever you walk through and there's that real estate brokerage downtown and they have the photos up on the glass
downtown,
right? And it's like, well, the people walk in and that, it's like you walk in, there you go, right? So it's kind of an old fashioned thing. People did it more before you could go online and go on to Zillow and find all the houses. The only way to see that houses that were for sale is to go into the real estate office, so that's not used as much as it used to be, but it still happens. Like we have a place here in Orlando called Winter Park Avenue, and it's like a foot traffic shopping, high end kind of restaurants and stuff. And They have some brokerages that are downtown that people just walk into.
Yeah. I think, we're not going to cover that in our lead generation season.
Yeah.
Because it is the most passive thing you can do and that you have no control over it. At least with open houses, you can say, I'm going to do this many open houses, this many average people come through, and you can determine the results based on averages.
Oh, well, what are we going to do today?
Well, yeah. So today we're talking about farming.
Okay.
Farming, in case if you're listening and you don't know what farming is, because it's kind of an old fashioned thing too. It is still used a lot, but it is a little bit old fashioned.
Especially this. It's like the new version is targeted ads.
Well, no, because that's demographic farming potentially.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was getting at.
But like to go into a neighborhood and send postcards in the mail, which is part of farming, is pretty old fashioned.
Yeah,
like any kind of direct mail campaign is an old fashioned way to reach people. But it works.
Yeah.
Anything can work, I think, by the way. Like anything can work if you do it consistently enough and you have a plan in place to make sure that you follow up with the people when you do meet them or they inquire.
Right.
That's the biggest key. But yeah, farming, this is another one of the sources that I leaned into early in my career because listen, I was never like a cold caller, like on the phones with a dialer kind of person. Although I've had a dialer before and I've done cold calls. That was just never like my go-to thing. I'm an introvert and I was extremely shy. I've come out of my shell more over the years because now I've made my profession to, I said this the other day to somebody, like I professionally talk to people every day.
Right.
And so I've come out of my shell, but like for a long time, I wanted to figure out a way to have people contact me. And so farming is essentially it's marketing, and you're choosing a neighborhood that you are going to farm, and you're going to market to them so that they reach out to you when they have a need to sell.
It seems like what you were saying a minute ago about coming out of your shell and waiting, like being attracted to the sort of lead gen where people would come to you.
Yeah.
Versus you reaching out. That doesn't sound like an issue specifically that you would have. It seems like an issue that's 95% of the people listening to this podcast have.
Yeah.
Like it does seem like there isn't anybody who's like, oh, give me the list of phone numbers to call. Everybody, I think most people would rather say, okay, what can I do where I can just send stuff out and wait for people to call me?
Well, like, that's why I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, it just seems like what most people are going to lean to. The catch of it is, and we'll get into it, I'm sure, is that the phone calls are free. And when you're starting out, you don't have the money. So you want to do as much free lead gen as you can or close to. And when I say free, I'm not talking about time. I'm talking about actual dollars. Right. So what is that? Calling Sphere, right? That's free. Making phone calls, open houses, basically free. Like you might do a little something. You have to buy, open house signs and whatever, but free. And now we're getting into these other ones where it's like, okay, well, I'm going to buy a batch of postcards. We know that doesn't work. Right. So, and we'll get into it. So it seems like as you get into more passive kind of, I'm going to want these people to call me, the price of the marketing of whatever that lead gen is, whatever the cost of the lead gen is, not really, well, it's marketing, goes up.
Yeah, for sure. Well, because it's the difference between prospecting and marketing.
Right.
Marketing needs a budget. Prospecting doesn't. Prospecting is more direct. It's proactive. It is what you should lead with. But yes, you're 100% right. Most people, including myself, when you get into real estate, you don't realize that prospecting is even part of your job. It is a very harsh reality that sets in quickly, and you're like, wow, this stinks. Like I did not sign up to be calling random people I don't know. And like, here's the things that I've heard and I've felt myself, right? I feel salesy. I feel slimy.
Doesn't sound like me.
Doesn't sound like me. I feel uncomfortable. I don't want to get hung up on. I don't want to get yelled at. And so if you're sending mail,
you don't get any of those things.
Nope. The only thing you're going to get is somebody calling you saying, hey, I got your mail piece.
Or take me off your mailing list.
Okay, you do every now and then get that negative
But
feedback.
You've got to be sending out to a lot of people to get the one person who's going to go out of their way to call the number to say, stop sending me a postcard.
I have to say something real quick. I did not too long ago, like within the last 2 years, got a call and it went to voicemail and the guy wanted us to take him off our mailing list.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, he's like, I have a world plan. I have a plan. And he just kept saying he had a plan. And I think it was because he had a lot of investment properties.
Mm-hmm.
And like in his mind, I'm not selling, stop sending me stuff.
Oh, I see. Right.
But he referred to it as like his world plan. Like, okay, good for you, man. And at some point though, that guy will sell his investment properties, right? And
it's just not yet.
And so everybody, by the way, like for not everybody, there's some people who are lifelong renters, but most people will buy or sell real estate at some point in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody is a lead that you meet and talk to, just maybe not at that moment in time. Mm-hmm. And if you kind of look at all of these sources that way, like I am just building a database different than your sphere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm building a database of people's contact information that I can be in front of. And over time, they might have a need and I'll be there.
Right.
So farming is one of those things though, where it is like the emotional reason you want to do it is because you don't want to do the hard prospecting stuff. So at least acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Like, again, I leaned into it as a way to get in front of people. I'll give you just a brief history before we get into this. So when I started farming, the method by which I started was we delivered like a newsletter. It was just a one sheet of paper, but it was a newsletter. And this was probably about 550 homes. And there was a voluntary president. There still is.
For the neighborhood.
There's no HOA. It's a older neighborhood. But there was a person who would help do events, and they helped
block
organize
captains and
so they helped organize block captains.
Right.
And the block captains were like neighborhood watch people.
Right.
And so I would do a newsletter, and the neighborhood block captains, I would actually deliver the newsletters to them.
Right. So they would get there because they would walk 2 or 3 streets.
Yep.
And so each one would get 60 newsletters. And then
it wasn't even that many, but yeah. And they would deliver them for me.
Yeah. And
Genius.
the newsletter was, whatever was happening in that neighborhood, maybe a letter that somebody wrote or whatever. And then on the back of it was basically
the stats for the neighborhood,
the real estate stats, and then call to action.
Yeah. And so on the front was a little blurb from the president and like some little local information, like events going on, things like that. And on the back was the stats, like, so what was active and pending. I never put the solds on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, if you want to see what's selling, you call me. And then the call to action was at the top with my contact information. And then that section also was when I had listings or pendings or solds in that neighborhood, they also went in there.
Right.
So every month they were getting this newsletter. We prepared it,
mm-hmm.
packaged it up into little plastic bags, like where you get old newspapers would go into, and then delivered to that person's door. The block captain would then deliver them.
Put a business card in there.
Nope, because the information was on the sheet of paper. It was it was printed black and white, but it was on a colored sheet of paper. And it made it feel
like it was from the neighborhood too.
Yep,
and
100%.
not an advertisement for Kathryn's real estate.
Yeah,
team.
and honestly, it was like it was the neighborhood newsletter. I just was the one sponsoring it. And essentially, what does that mean? That means that the sponsorship was we prepared it. we printed it, paid to print it, and then also stuffed it and then delivered it to the block captain. So there was definitely like time and cost involved, but it was pretty low cost.
And it was something that didn't hit the mailbox and to get lost. It was something that was put on the door or handed directly to the neighbor on a Saturday morning when the block captain was walking around. And so it didn't get lost in the hubbub of junk mail.
Yeah.
Which is and we'll get into it and stuff. That's really what you're trying to avoid is to not somebody doesn't check their mail for 3 days and then goes out there and gets a pile of there's one of those coupon mailers in there or like some ad thing for rooms to go and 3 other postcards from whatever else and then the regular mail and it's like trash. You know what I mean? So
so it stood out. It was very low cost, didn't look nice, all the things. But then we added on to that. So that's like, this is my point in illustrating, like that was step 1. Connect with the HOA president, voluntary, whatever, and set this plan up. Then we started delivering another, kind of like another newsletter. It was printed the same way, so it looked the same, but it was just market information. And like maybe we put a little community news and then delivered that by door ourselves. And that I feel like it was almost like door knocking, but let me get real clear with you. I did not knock on their door.
Right.
I would like quietly walk up to the door and slide it in and like fingers crossed, nobody comes outside so I don't have to talk to them or their dog doesn't bark and then slowly back out of the room.
And this was, so you would do the newsletter once a month? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
And then how often did you do this other thing?
So
like,
because
was it like once every 2 weeks?
No.
Or once a month as well? So
it was like once every other month because it was hard to hand deliver those things. You had to walk
the whole neighborhood.
Yeah. So that's why I never door knocked is because it's very time consuming. And
it is always weird when you hear a new agent go, I'm going to door knock. Like that. I mean, good for you to do it, but it's a lot of people. That's a lot of work. You end up spending more time walking than actually talking and stuff.
I think it just comes down to like if somebody gets into real estate and they have some background in door-to-door sales, like that might be a great fit for you.
Yeah,
but for most of us, we're not going to be effective at the door.
Yeah.
And it's very time consuming. And so your energy is probably better placed somewhere else. That's not for everybody, but for most people. So, and then we started adding postcards in. So like we're building upon because it's about exposure. Farming only works if they see your name enough times that they know who you are.
And we probably should have started with that.
Yeah.
Like what's the point of farming?
Well, it took a really long time for me to get there.
Yeah.
But the point is that it's about exposure. And the biggest challenge for people when they do farming is that they do not do enough for anybody to have any idea who they are. And so they think it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Sending 2 postcards to one neighborhood will not result in a real estate sale.
Yeah.
It just won't. And if it does for you, and if you're like, that's not true, I did that last year, that was luck. And we're talking about plans that you can
numbers that can
build
scale
a business around.
Right. That you can that are predictable and scalable.
Yeah.
If you can't predict and scale, if you just happen to send out postcards once and got somebody to call you, that's not predictable or scalable in any way.
And we're specifically talking about farming, not like sending out just listed or just sold postcards.
Right.
That's a different thing.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about taking a neighborhood and saying, I want to be the expert in this neighborhood. So a lot of times
it takes a long time for that neighborhood to understand that you're the expert. If you can really think about like, well, what would that take for me to do to cut through the buzz of all the noise and stuff so that 80% of the people that live in this neighborhood know who I am.
Yeah.
And then trust me with their real estate deal, even if they know somebody else who's an agent. That takes a lot of work.
Well, yeah, because again, we go back to like, they don't know you.
Yeah.
And so they see your name or face on a newsletter or postcard, and then they're not ready to buy or sell.
Right.
They don't have any needs.
Right.
And so they immediately forget who you are.
So it means that you're only going to get the people who know you. Like if you only do it for a certain amount of time and you're like, well, I've been doing it for 8 weeks. They should know who I am. They don't. And maybe you get lucky with one person that happens to be selling right then. Right. But if you stop, what about the people who are going to buy or sell next year or the year after that? You just wasted all of that postcard money on people who aren't going to. So once you've decided to do it, it's like.
Well, yeah. So before we get into what would make it work, let's just go back to
what you guys did. What else did you do besides you guys? You started doing the newsletters.
So we did newsletters, added a second, more real estate focused piece that looked the same. Mm-hmm. Then postcards monthly.
So a monthly postcard.
And then added event sponsorship. The way I started that, and now events can be different. Like events can be one thing, but this is specific to farming. It started with me.
Because they're neighborhood events.
Yes.
They're not like an event that you're,
to meet the people that you've been mailing to.
Right.
Or delivering newsletters to. And I started by offering to do luminaries because when I grew up, if you don't know what luminaries are at the holidays, Christmas time, you take like paper bags and put sand in them and put candles and light them like one night for the holiday season throughout a neighborhood. And when I was growing up, our neighborhood did that. And it was like, usually it was like the second or third week into December. It wasn't right around, it wasn't like directly Christmas, but I just thought they were really pretty. And so
this particular neighborhood has a big park.
Yeah, it has a big park. So I thought we could do this event at the park and do the luminaries around the park instead of the houses themselves, because that's a big undertaking.
And since you have been doing these 2 newsletters that are going out with neighborhood information, right, for a year or whatever, however long you were doing that, and then also sending postcards to people, there's a way to directly let them know about it, right, and to know what that, and they've seen the logo now for a year of Kathryn's real estate team popping up, so now all of a sudden it's what is this and who is this? Well, it's on our newsletter.
Well,
it's on the newsletter. And
I always used the president to say like, hey, I would like to do this event and get their support. So if there is somebody that sort of spearheads things for the neighborhood, like get in with that person because
maybe it's your neighborhood. Like that happens a lot too. That happens
a lot too. And when we get into the math on things, we'll talk a little bit about that because that's not always the best place to do a farm just because you live there.
Yeah, we'll get into it in a bit.
Yeah. But so so we added events. So I started with the luminary event, created that myself. Somewhere in the mix, we built a Facebook page for the neighborhood, which is still in use today. And then I started sponsoring the Easter egg hunt so that it was 2 events per year. And then I don't want to get too in the weeds on like all the things, but you know, everybody remembers COVID. Well, that all of a sudden, like overnight, those newsletters weren't getting delivered anymore.
Right.
And so I had to figure out
no Easter.
There was no Easter egg hunt.
No luminaries.
That year. We didn't do luminaries.
At all. We were even doing a thing. We were doing a house of the season.
Well, that's what I was getting into.
Oh, you were? Oh, okay. Because I think we did that.
Nope. That started.
That started pre-COVID or because of COVID?
Because of COVID.
Oh, okay.
That started because of COVID. So we had to figure out a way to still have some sort of engagement with the community. And so during that time, there was a lot of like virtual events happening and stuff. And so I started the pumpkin carving contest.
Right.
But I think we did Yard of the Season first.
Yeah.
So Yard of the Season was just a virtual event. Basically,
I went around and took photos. We had people nominate, right?
We asked people to nominate. And so remember, you're already sending postcards to these people and you're handing out newsletters or whatever.
And now it's been a few years of doing that.
We're inviting people to nominate the yard for spring. It was like late spring, early summer. and also the Christmas holiday.
Right. So when people decorate.
When people had lights.
Right.
And so people would nominate their neighbor's yard or their yard. And then we created a website where Pat went and took photos, and we put the photos on the website, and then we invited them all to come and vote.
Mm-hmm.
And then we announced a winner. And during that event, though, the people who were nominated had yard signs.
Yeah, we made yard signs, like on Zazzle or something like that.
And they were in the
yard of the season, but with Kat's logo on it.
And then the winner got a yard sign that sat in the yard for a few weeks as well. So we were promoting ourselves through this event.
Pretty inexpensive thing to do, but that was because the structure of communication had been already existed.
Yeah. Yes. I think that's the biggest key is like, don't try and do everything all at once. Like start with some either like a physical newsletter or a letter mailing direct mail campaign to build exposure to yourself. And then you can add in an event.
Yeah. This was over years and years of doing this.
And then at the events, like, so we've done the in-person events. That was just it was kind of a side thing that happened because of COVID. Mm-hmm. And it's not that I don't want to do those events anymore. We still do the pumpkin carving contest.
The yard of the season was not that much work during COVID because there wasn't that much other stuff to do.
Yeah.
But when we looked at how much work it took to send out postcards, get nominations, get the addresses have the people send the stuff back, me go out and take the photos, come back, edit the photos, get them uploaded to a website, have people vote, contact them to do that, then get the winning prize, get the winning prize to the people. Like it was a lot of legwork, not so much when you're not doing the other things because there's a worldwide pandemic happening.
Right.
But trying to do all of the normal stuff now and do that was a lot of work.
Yeah. So point of all of that is just to say, like, you have to start somewhere, but you shouldn't just pick at random. And the biggest part before we go to break is that what happens is you send a couple and expect results and you don't get them and you tell yourself it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Nobody calls, nobody visits the website, nobody inquires, and it feels like a waste of money.
Yeah.
Like farming can feel very, very wasteful.
Well, it's like there has been multiple occasions, it's that postcard where it says, get your home value, right? And a new agent gets a templated postcard, get your home value. And Kathryn, for whatever reason, trying to get them to join the team or maybe the brokerage or whatever, says they all say the same thing. Well, I have this postcard I just sent out. I want to see what happens with it. Nothing is going to happen with it because you've only sent out, scraped together $450 and you were like, here's my big chance. I'm going to send out a postcard and nobody calls. And you're like, what a waste.
Well, think about it like this. Why would someone call you on the first postcard you sent out? They don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Right? Unless you actually live in the neighborhood. But for the most part,
right. We've said they have to know you, like you, and trust you. That's how people contact you. They have to have all three of those things. Know you, like you, trust you.
In farming, know you would be branding yourself in that neighborhood for a long period of time. Like you would be the adding events so that you can be physically present so you get to interact with some of those people.
Trust you is getting signs in the yard.
Is that you have validation that you are in fact that expert.
Yes. By that grows over time and compounds on itself. By Kathryn doing all of those things and also having 4 listing signs in the neighborhood and then those houses selling, people notice the signs in their own neighborhood and they also notice they're all the same sign from the same agent. Makes it a lot easier for them to pick the phone up when they're ready and call.
Yeah.
So, all right. You want to take a break?
Yep.
Okay.
If you're enjoying this episode and want more ways to seek your best, not just in your business, but in how you spend your time and energy, there are a few easy places to connect with us beyond the podcast.
Over on YouTube, you can find us at Seeking the Best Pod. We share full episodes of the show, short coaching clips, reviews of real estate products, and tips on building a real estate business that actually works in real life. We post videos on Thursday mornings.
Or find us on Instagram at On Seeking the Best. There we post behind the scene moments, short practical tips, and some of the real unfiltered stuff that doesn't always make it into the show.
And if you're looking for episode supplements like the Candy Bag, where Kat posts more in-depth ideas that we discuss on the episodes, head to onseekingthebest.com. You can learn more about us, buy some Seeking the Best merch, or send us a question that we'll answer on the show.
However you connect with us, thanks for being here and keep seeking your best.
And we're back.
Okay, real quick.
Yeah.
Few things I just want to make sure we're clear on.
Okay.
So things I've heard before about like why people think farming doesn't work is that they sent out a mail piece and just got crickets. And so they think that silence means that it doesn't work. But that would be what you would expect for a long period of time. In fact, any kind of mailing campaign, 6 to 12 months minimum before you would start to see some results.
Weekly, monthly?
But think about it like this in the MREA.
You mean if you said 6 to 12 months, but how often am I
monthly
sending out one postcard a month?
Yes.
Okay.
But
okay. All right.
But remember the MREA model says that in order to get people to know who you are, you start with an 8x8.
Okay.
So if you're going to do a farming campaign, you would probably start with 8 touches over 8 weeks.
So 8 postcards, 8 weeks.
You're going to hit them real hard at first, and then it's the monthly because you're just trying to keep the communication going.
And then add in whatever.
And then add in, I would say, special events. Like I think if you're doing a monthly mail.
Like trying to hold open houses in
100%.
In that neighborhood so that you can door knock and put flyers on the door about the open house.
100%. Like when any lead source we talk about, if you have a farm area, then you call every single for sale by owner in your farm.
Yeah.
You call every expired in your farm. You hold every open house you can in your farm. That will help you take the initial mail campaign to the next level because you're going to start to meet the people in person and then get their email address. What happens when you have their email address? Well, now you can communicate with them via mail and email. And if you got their phone number as well, phone. Now all of a sudden you're building a real database of people that you can communicate with regularly.
And that's how you start to now all of a sudden, if you want to do an event, you've got a group of people
you can actually invite,
that you can invite, that you can say, hey, who else should we invite? Blah, blah, blah. Right.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing people say is like, it's too expensive. It doesn't work. It's too expensive.
It is expensive. They're right about that.
It is compared to other sources. Sure.
Well, sure. It's not expensive compared to a jet. Pull in a big sign with your name on it.
Or a billboard.
Right.
It is compared to like Sphere, which if you're calling your Sphere, that's pretty free, right? But it's really not terribly expensive as long as you're holding those dollars accountable. And so like we said, like mail isn't enough, but you can start by a push 8x8 and then a monthly campaign while you're adding in those other things.
Right.
To get that exposure.
So if you think about it, it's easy to say the numbers 8x8 and then once a month. So 8x8 is 8 every week. So that's 2 months.
8. Yeah. One touch a week for 8 weeks.
And then you start the next series of postcards, which are going to be once a month. So
and it doesn't have to be a postcard. That's just right. Like it's easier to say postcard.
Right. Piece of mail.
Because then if you're like piece of mail, well, what am I putting in the letter? Well, yeah, that's part of creating the plan. It's like, what is the message that you're trying to get across for a farm?
Yeah.
And by the way, like,
and what are you trying to place yourself as? What's your image supposed to be? What is it that you're trying to say about you? You know, you want to be helping them.
I think it's not a one size fits all though, because if your farm area is a specific demographic, like if it's largely a certain demographic, meaning like older people who are downsizing. If you found that to be true, then the messaging should reflect that.
Right. Well,
but
that's
then
what
you're
I mean
also
by figuring
pushing
out-
yourself as
yeah.
like the expert for that location.
Yeah.
And over time, you become that because you've now sold some houses, and now
Mhm.
your goal is to be the dominant agent in the area, which is another reason why people are like, well, this doesn't work because there's another agent that has all the listings. Well, you picked a bad farm then.
Yeah.
Don't choose a farm just because you like this is
Just
back
because
to
you
just
live
because
there.
you live there. If somebody else is, if you're getting a mail piece from somebody at your house every month,
And you have been for months and
like
months.
it's going to be hard to break
years.
through that.
Yeah.
Or if you look at the neighborhood and you see an agent, like if you look at all the sales over the last year and you see an agent's name multiple times, that's an indication that they're doing something already.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard to break through that.
Yeah. Because they've got the jump on you.
I will say,
It's not impossible, but because you could start doing, maybe they're not doing the events, right? And you're gonna spend time and kind of develop this stuff, and they don't live in the neighborhood and you do. That's an advantage. It's not a thing that's going to be like, well, they'll use me because I'm in the neighborhood. But you start to add all of these things up, maybe, but
Well-
if the guy is the realtor and he's been a realtor for 35 years and he lives in the neighborhood, and you go back a year and 30% of the houses are his, you don't work that neighborhood.
yeah, there's a difference between, listen, every neighborhood has a realtor in it. There's a difference
Right, but
between.
are they farming it?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, just because you know somebody lives there is not a reason not to farm it.
Absolutely.
What's not a reason to farm it is that they have market share.
Yeah.
Oh, like 30 to 40% market share. And it's probably not worth breaking through. Maybe even 20% because maybe they started a few years ago and now they're like building. And
Right.
so it's just not a good place to put your money because there's probably another neighborhood where you have no competition and you could break through.
Mhm.
So it's about finding the best path forward. Don't just choose a neighborhood because it's cute houses or because you live there or because you like the price point. Like, do the research.
Yeah, that happens a lot. We've seen that happen quite a bit. People, they move to a neighborhood and they're like, I'm going to start. I'd walk every day, right?
Yeah.
I walk every day and I talk to my neighbors, and it's like, that's fine. But maybe farming isn't the next step there. Go ahead and talk to your neighbors. Great. But do the research before you start spending money, right?
Well, and also just understand like a farm is not just a list of people. A farm is a community, and you're going to be the person who's helping build and make it a better community. Like, that's how I look at it
Yeah.
anyways, is like, that's why I started doing the events, and I'm helping not only sponsoring, but also creating events to make it a better place to live.
Right.
And like that whole COVID virtual events, like, yes, that supports my business, but those made it a better, like, I believe that made it a better place to live during that time when it was very hard and people were, it was just a hard time and they weren't able to get out, but it gave a place to connect. And
did we ever do a backyard oasis at that neighborhood?
Not at that neighborhood. No.
Just the other one.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. But that was a community event, different lead source.
Yeah. Different neighborhood.
Well, different lead source.
Well, yeah.
It was a networking group.
Yeah.
But anyways, the not that it doesn't work part is, I think, for this source is harder to get through because it is the longest of all the things you'll do. It will take the longest to see real strong results.
And I'm sure you have some sort of numbers set up, because like we were talking the other day, last episode, about open houses and how many people you needed to talk to in order to set an appointment, how many people needed to walk through the door. Well, with this, and we're talking about, I'm mailing postcards, and of course it could be something else, but for lack of a better thing, we're going to say postcards. And let's make this easy and not deal with like, and I did door knocking, I walked the neighborhood and I talked to people because I live in the neighborhood and I am going to do that. Like, let's just focus on like mailers when it comes to numbers. So these people, generally speaking, don't know you, don't know whether or not they like you because they don't know you, and certainly don't trust you because they don't know you.
Mm-hmm.
I start mailing 8x8s. How many times do I need to contact somebody before I get contacted back? And how many people do I need to send stuff to?
Well, that's the bigger question, because I can't tell you how many times it's going to take, because it depends on so many factors. Like, think about it like this. Okay, so you do the 8x8 initially so that people recognize your name over the next year that you're still mailing to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're mailing, and they're starting to recognize your name. But, think about this is where we'll get a little bit into the math. A good farm area is something, first of all, it's a manageable number. So you don't want a neighborhood that has like 2,000 homes in it. That's too many mailers. You probably don't have the budget to do that consistently.
Mm-hmm.
But I've found like 400 to 500 homes is a good manageable amount. And then you want a turnover rate, meaning that the number of homes sold every year is enough for you to actually sell some houses through your farming
right,
efforts.
because we have some great neighborhoods around us,
but if no one's moving,
there's never a house for sale in it.
Yeah, if nobody's moving, then you are literally wasting money.
Right.
So I would say, like,
is there like a price point that should matter?
Well, hold on a second.
No, I just mean
you
like
keep getting me off track.
I mean, as far as like picking a neighborhood, like what should I be looking for when it comes?
That's up to you. In your budget, your goals for the year, your income goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, for me, like, I'm not going to choose a farm area that has less than the average sales price in our area.
Right. Oh, okay. Right. So look for
what
that.
I mean?
Yeah.
But I would probably, because of my goals, I'd probably choose something that's a little bit over the average price point.
Mm-hmm. 'Cause I know in your experience and all of that, you are, I get you.
And then, so a turnover rate is the percentage of homes that have sold in the area in the last year. And anything less than 5% is probably not going to support you actually having enough sales for it to be worth the money you're spending.
5%.
Yeah. But in 5%, that's like a pretty steady, meaning like the number of people moving out of the neighborhood is pretty normal, steady. Anything above 5%, obviously that provides more opportunity to have more sales because more homes are being listed and sold. But that also could indicate, like, if it was like 10% or something, that could indicate maybe that there's a reason.
People are getting out.
They're getting out of the neighborhood.
There's a big old sinkhole.
Yeah, that could be like something you'd want to investigate a little bit.
So if let's just, for argument's sake, if we're just going to say 500 homes, this neighborhood is 500 homes. I'm going to start farming to them.
Yeah.
5%. That's
that would be
25,
like a steady, stable.
That's 25 homes over the next year.
Yeah.
That are going to become available. Right? 25. So think about that when you're getting ready to farm. Well, you're not going to get all 25 of those listings.
No, because some of them are, real estate agents. Yes, they are going to work with the people they worked with before.
Or there's a million other reasons. So narrow that down. And then look at if you're good, maybe you get one, maybe you get two, out of that for the year, farming to 500, maybe you get three. If you're lucky, you can parlay. It depends on when they come online. Maybe the neighbor was getting ready. You're building you're building the, your notoriety in the neighborhood so that next year it turns into 4 or 5, right? So this is the first year starting off, nobody knows you, right? As you do this more and more people know you and there's more signs in the yard, you're going to get more of the market share of those.
Well, think about like this too. Every time you sell a house in that area. So if you, that's the neighborhood that we were talking about. Kat's been in every single one of those houses. I know
500 houses. She's been in all of them.
I don't know if that's 100% true, but it is very close.
It's crazy.
So obviously there's some people that haven't moved, but over a 20-year career, a lot of those houses have turned over multiple times even. And so I've seen like the transition.
So I've sold that house 3 times.
But with those numbers, and again, remember the first year you are building brand recognition. If you get anything out of it, that's awesome. But this is a long, long game. So, the second, third year, that's when you should start to see results. And by results, I don't mean that you haven't sold anything. I just mean you're starting to take market share.
You're starting to see results that you can track and you can build upon.
And the more you do, so if you're just doing mailers, let's go back to the MRA math that says for every 50 people that you're in communication with regularly, but that do not know you, you would get one piece of business, 50 to 1. That's 2%. So over the course of that year, if you were mailing to 500 people, what's 2% to 500?
1% is 5. So 2% is like 2.25. Right?
Hold on, what?
Or, yeah. Am I not right?
Wait, what did you say?
2?
2?
Like just over 2.
I get 10.
Okay.
2% of 500 is 10.
Okay.
Okay, but let's be real clear. You're not going to have 10 closings after mailing to people for a year. That's not going to happen because remember the turnover rate, right? The turnover rate in the neighborhood is the real tangible leads. So now, could you get 10 pieces of business from 500 people? Yes. If you were able to get referrals from those people and the business that's coming out of the neighborhood, you could absolutely get 10 pieces of business from 500 people. But if only 25 homes are going to sell that year, you really have, of those 500, 25 lead opportunities. So if you can be the person they think of, because remember, you're not prospecting them. So you haven't talked to them. So they have to get the mail piece when they have the opportunity to, or when they need to sell.
Right.
And
that's
then
the key.
Not have another realtor and then call you.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be 10 sales out of 25 in your first year.
No.
That would take probably...
You'll be lucky to get 1 in your first year.
Yeah, that's going to take to get 10 of 25. That would be, I know math on podcasts is fun. That would be a 40% market share. A good market share is 30%. Like if you can build over the course of 5 years to 30%, 40% market share, you're doing really well. But see what I mean by that is that would equal 50 to 1. But that would take you probably 5 years.
And if there's 25 houses selling in that neighborhood, and it's gonna take you 5 years to get to 30%. What's 30% of 25?
But that's 30% of 25.
Yeah,
it's 7.5.
7. Okay, so you could get 7.
7 to 10.
7 to
I
10.
think in 5 years' time, if you do consistently communicate with them.
Right.
So what the MREA book says is 50 to 1. Eventually that will work out, but it's not year 1.
Yeah.
That's the part that we said in the last episode. It's never, you're not going to mail to 500 people this year every month and get 10 pieces of business.
Yeah.
You're going to do it consistently over time. And then you'll have 10
This is
pieces
one of the reasons why I don't recommend farming to a new agent. I recommend farming to an agent who has a marketing budget already built into their business. Because think about it, guys. Okay. That 8x8 to 500. Okay. Stamps and postcard. It's going to be more than $1. But let's just say, well, round down. You're using the cheapest paper on the smallest postcard with the cheapest long-term postage on it. We're going to say $1. 500 houses, it's $500. You got to do it 8 times for the first 2 months. Then you got to do it every single month. And that's for a year. And then you'll see a little bit of success. It's going to take doing that every single month for the next 5 years before you start to see the 30% and get 7 listings from doing that. So it's so passive. Are you adding up dollars?
I was doing the math.
It is a huge investment in time and money to do it. And I'm not saying don't. I'm not telling people don't. It's like doing events and all of that. I'm just saying be prepared to spend a lot of money to see little results.
Well,
and I always want to say, what else could you be doing with that money?
If you're new, yes, agreed.
That's what I'm talking about.
I know.
That's what I'm talking about. I have seen multiple times agents, they've been in the business for a year and they're like, I'm going to start farming. And it's like, you did 7 sales last year.
Well, let me say 2 things.
Go ahead.
I'm real feisty this morning.
I see that.
Okay. First thing, in the MREA book, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, the other thing that is really, really important in that book is like you take pieces out and people like throw out the numbers, but you forget the other part. Lead with revenue. Mm-hmm. So if you're brand new, you don't have any revenue, you don't have a marketing budget.
Right.
And so you should go do the free sources, the prospecting.
But the free sources, I have to get on the phone and call people. Well, the postcards are free. Are free. I don't have to worry about feeling uncomfortable. Yep. And so people throw money at the wall. And so this one round of postcards, it's got to do something, right? I'm sending it out to all those people. All I need is one. All I need is one person to call. Well, and it pays for itself.
I know that was the other part I was going to say, the second part to that. So the number 1 is lead with revenue. That's the other piece in the book that's really important, is like, this is an add-on lead source. Or you can do like I did, and I made a really very inexpensive way to get started in a farm by leveraging other people that were block captains to actually deliver the newsletter. The only cost I had
was printing
black and white. I put it on colored paper so that it looked a little bit more like stood out a little bit more.
But it was going to Staples and saying print 500 of these, but still it's like even on black and white and printing them out and putting them in bags. It's not free.
It's not free. It's not free. But you could do that in a very limited budget, and just know again, like that's you're going to do that for a year and probably still not see results. But maybe over the course of that year, you sold some homes and now you have a marketing budget and you can add on to it.
Right.
It's an add-on lead source. I've never said that out loud before, but I really think that it is. It's like,
it shouldn't be one of your 3. When we're talking about that, you should have 3 main pillars of lead source.
Well, it can be over time.
Right. Okay.
Because what happens is you start to build market share, and it can become a bigger source.
Yeah. And you can expand and go into a different neighborhood and farm there. And there's all sorts of things that could happen. I'm generally speaking to our listeners who are like, should I? They saw the podcast episode title and said farming. I want to try that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think we're giving them the caution of like, if you don't have any revenue, you don't have a marketing budget, don't start a farming effort, because what the math that we just said, just for postcards, just for like bottom of the barrel postcards to do it over the course of the first 2 months and then a year is $10,000 for a 500 house neighborhood.
And this is the recipe. You can't skip them.
Well, that's the problem.
If you stop and you're like, oh, I don't have the money this month, I'll do it next month.
Well, if anything, you need more. Like I said, I did one thing and then I added on, and now there's like a whole pile of stuff that happens for a farm to actually exist, because it's about community building. It's not just postcards. And it can work if you put in the plan and you say, I'm going to do this, and I'm prepared to do it for a minimum of a year, and I'm prepared to coordinate with somebody to do at least one event, you will start to see the results to know that you can continue to invest. But people do get in that habit of saying, well, all I need is one sale. If I get one sale, that'll pay for itself. And potentially it could, right? If you spend $10,000, potentially you could get a check that is worth that, depending on the average price and compensation stuff. But
that's spending the $10,000. I'm saying that's not even what
I'm making a point.
Are you?
Yes. My point is that even if you sold one house from that $10,000, you didn't actually get paid.
Well, of course.
It was completely.
Yeah, it was a wash.
But it was less than a wash, because you still put all the time to create the messaging, to go on the postcards, to send it out, to do all the stuff. So you are in the negative at one.
You've already taken it further by saying they spent $10,000. I'm saying they spend $1,000, do it twice, and say, oh, I'm going to skip this one.
Yeah.
I don't have the money for it. Or I'm just going to do it the one, or the people who haven't listened to this episode and say, I'm just going to buy one round of postcards. That should do it. I'll get one from that, right? That's where they think they're going to get the one. Well, I'm going to send out 500. I've got to hear from one person. Right. That's what people think.
Yeah.
I'll put a market analysis on there, free market analysis of your home.
Yeah.
Right. And with my number, one of them's got to call me. They don't call. They don't know you. They don't like you, and they don't trust you. They're not going to do it. It's like, and if you got lucky, somebody's listening to this and go, well, I did it once and I blah, blah, blah. Well, why aren't you still doing it? Because it didn't happen the next time.
Well, because there's a difference between a response rate and a closing.
Well, that's true too.
Because some you got lucky once that somebody called you and you set an appointment, but did you actually have a closing? And even if you did, again, that was just luck. But all of this to say, it is 100% a worthwhile long-term listen.
No, I know.
Like a long-term career.
Mm-hmm. Well, you do it.
Agent source.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It works.
It is not for newbies, I believe. I believe it is for like do a few years, have some revenue in place, create a plan, start small.
And know it's going to take some time.
And if your plan is to be in real estate for the rest of your life, then then do it. If it's not, then
or if you're
there's other ways to spend that money.
How many times is it? I'm going to send out I'm going to scrape my money together, send out this postcard, and then no one calls. And then all of a sudden those people are out of the business. It's like a last ditch effort.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. And it's like, we've just got done talking for an hour about how this is such a long process to be successful in farming. If you are like, what can I do today to get a listing? I need to get a listing. What can I do? Farming isn't the way to go.
No.
Right? It's not. It's like, this is something, if you want this to be a strong lead source that you can track 5-6 years from now, then start and you can invest to see profit appear years from now from the work you do today, and not just the work, but the money you spend today to invest it now to not see success till much later. Then you do that. But that's why we don't recommend it for agents who are just starting out a year in, 2 years in. It's like, if you don't have a stable income yet, you haven't gotten to where it's like, this is what I want to do this year. And then you go and you do that. If you can't do that, then you shouldn't be even thinking about farming, right?
If you're talking about spending money on farming, yes.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just clarifying because there are things you can do. We talked about door knocking in the beginning. That's technically its own lead source, but that is a free thing. You're just spending your time. So could you start a farm by door knocking? Yes, I know people that have. Mm-hmm. And so you can do something like that, but you have to ask yourself if you're going to go.
Is that farming or is that networking?
No, it's farming.
Okay.
If you're doing it in a specific community.
Yeah.
It's farming because you're talking to the specific neighbors just like you would be with the mail piece, but you're seeing them in person. But with door knocking, I've always asked myself the question, like, what could you be doing? So if you hit let's say 50 doors in 2 hours, what else could you have done with those 2 hours versus meeting complete strangers that you have no idea if they have a real estate need?
You probably could have been calling those old open house leads or those old sphere or your sphere.
Yes.
Right.
Like that's what it's the more about, like, how are you using your time? So one of the things that farming with postcards does is it leverages your time really well, which is why it's a nice add-on down the road. Well, I don't have time to add like another proactive lead source because I'm busy, but I want to keep growing.
Right.
I have a marketing budget.
That's why, yeah.
I can do this because it doesn't take much time.
And that's why agents to
do the actual activity is all I mean.
Successful agents who have been doing it for a long time, farming is a good idea for all of those reasons. New agent, just starting out, you have plenty of time. You got nothing going on. You got one buyer? You got nothing going on. Like, you have plenty of time to be doing things that take time to find leads and stuff. You don't need to be farming to save yourself time. You don't have anything going on, right? So farming is for agents who need the extra time, but still need to find more lead sources, more leads.
Yeah.
And they also have a marketing budget to be able to spend that money. But There's nothing I could recommend less to a newer agent is I found this thing. I can send these postcards. They do all the postage themselves. I'm going to send one round of postcards out to a neighborhood and wait for the phone to ring. I've seen agents do that for years. It never works. Don't do it.
I'm going to say two more things.
Okay.
Okay. One is just to recap on the math part. So if you had a neighborhood of 500,
okay.
We're saying like bare minimum, that would be like a $10,000 cost in your first year. So I've always learned, and I think this is held pretty true for me, is that you want like a 4 times return on your money. That's the ideal place to be. Okay. So you would need to sell, and I am using just average numbers. Like you'd probably need to sell like 3 or 4 homes for it to be worth that expense. But remember, this takes time. So that's not going to be in your first year, but
so you'll be behind.
You'll be behind immediately. But if you can build a farm where you're a 30% market share, then you're actually like 8 times the cost that to keep maintaining it. So you see how over time, it can really pay off.
Yeah.
The biggest key with this, and you've said it a million times so far, but it's not just the people fail because they only do it a couple times and then quit. People also fail because they do it for a long period of time, but then they get inconsistent.
Yeah.
And I know I've had moments of that myself.
It's been a bad couple months. Like I thought that was going to close. It fell through. These people ghosted me. Now all of a sudden I don't have the money in the marketing budget. It'll be really tight. I'm going to have to whatever. And so I'll just skip it this time.
Yeah. And what happens is like, whether it's financial or you get really busy and you had an admin that was doing that job and then you had turnover in that role. And like, these are the things that can make farming inconsistent. And
we haven't even talked about the follow-up when they do contact you.
Oh, because when they contact you, oftentimes they're like a little ways off.
Right. They don't want to list tomorrow. They want to maybe list next year, which means you have to keep in contact with them and have a whole plan already in place.
Well, that's a whole other thing.
That's what I don't want to get into it. I'm just saying there's a lot of structure that needs to be put in place, right? So you're going to lose people that you actually talk to just through the cracks.
Yeah.
So
I forgot the second thing because you started talking. Let's hope it wasn't important.
That was going to tie everything together.
It was going to tie everything up.
Make it simple. Your best move that you can use, not a grind. It's a tip that saves your time. Your best move. Do your best move.
All right, it's time for this week's best move. One simple, smart thing to focus on this week. Not a giant to-do list, not something that takes hours. Just one move that actually helps move your business forward. And this week, pick a neighborhood you're interested in for farming and determine the turnover rate.
Yep. So that would just be go into your MLS, go 1 year back, 0 to 365 days, and how many homes sold.
Okay.
Take that number.
Easy. Divided
by the number of homes in the entire neighborhood.
Okay.
How you would find that is the best way I could describe it is we have in our MLS, we have a service called IMAP. But if you don't have IMAP, there's probably some other way in your county records to maybe draw a map around the neighborhood and then see how many residential homes exist in there. And so then you'll know. So if it's 30 homes sold and there's 500, that's 6% turnover.
Okay.
And we said that'd be a good place.
6% is when you want to hover around there. If it starts to get into 10, 12, 15, there might be an issue with the neighborhood.
Well, you would just want to investigate what is that. Could it be that there's a builder, a new construction situation that's causing most of the sales? Because then unless you're going to work for the builder, that's not actually the turnover rate that you have an opportunity with. So get clear on that. And then the other thing I think worth looking at, because you'd already be pulling up that number, is what's the average sales price? Because you might have an idea in your mind, maybe you sold a house or two in that neighborhood, so you think let's get really clear on what it actually is, because then you can kind of figure out what would be the opportunity over time in that area. Yeah,
and it depends on the neighborhood, right? So we have lots of neighborhoods here that are around the downtown area where one street, those houses will be $850,000. Same neighborhood, 2 streets over, $385, right? So you can, then there's other prefab neighborhoods where, all the houses are built at the exact same time and they're all the same sort of general shape.
We call that a cookie cutter.
Yeah. Row home, right? Is that right?
A row home is like a townhome.
Oh, so it would be like Edward Scissorhands.
Like a spec house. Like it's just like a builder like popped in this floor plan.
Beautiful.
Cookie cutter.
Small wins.
Small win. Kat, you got a small win this week?
I think my small win is just I got new glasses.
Well, you can see.
I guess just like I was gonna say taking care of myself.
And well, I mean, the glasses are good because, it's like being able to see means that you're not as tired at the end of the day. Your eyes aren't wiped out and stuff. And you don't really realize how bad your eyes are until you start wearing the glasses.
Well, and the small win is not necessarily the glasses, just like remembering to take care of yourself and say like, okay, I need to go do that appointment.
Yeah.
I need to schedule that time. Or like also another small win, like last night I sat down and said, I need some supplies. Like I'm out of makeup. I'm out of like things that I need. And I need to just take 10 minutes and focus on what I need.
Kathryn said to me yesterday, I'm looking for new makeup brushes because what'd you say? Because I don't want to have to clean the ones I've got.
Don't tell people that.
So I'm looking for new ones.
Well, it's not.
They're so coated in oil, like not oily, but just that makeup gets down into the metal part, and stuff. So
I just don't feel like cleaning them. I'm not sure that they'll really come clean the way I want them to, and they're not terribly expensive anyway. So
Okay. And my small win is I had bought a tabletop lighter in the 90s. Kat's got it right there. She's gonna hold it up. There it is. And it hadn't worked since I bought it. Like I bought it, it was one of those things that you buy at an antique store for like $8 because that's all the money you have, but you're looking for decor when you get your first apartment. And so I bought that and it's been on a shelf for 30 years. And I used ChatGPT to find out what kind of a lighter it was
and how to seal on the bottom.
And I uploaded the picture of the bottom and it walked me through the process of taking the whole thing apart, cleaning it all out, putting a new flint in, a new wheel in, a new wick in.
This thing's heavy.
And it's silver. It's silver.
It's a Queen
Go ahead
Anne.
And push the button, see if you can light it.
What is Queen Anne from 1920s?
Yeah. You got to give it a pull. Oh, she broke it.
I broke it. Oh, there we go.
It might
it's sort of sparking.
Yeah, it's sparking, but there we go. There we go. See that? So now you guys all have a reason to go to the video.
To see that it's very beautiful.
Yeah, it's
like
pretty.
It doesn't even look like a lighter. It looks like a little genie. I want to like make a little wish.
I know, it's cool. Hey guys, for episodes extra like the candy bag, ask us questions, or anything else we mentioned today, you can find it all at onseekingthebest.com. And for Kat and myself, thanks for listening, and we'll figure this all out next week.
Bye.
Fall down, get back up, keep on reaching, don't give up. Step by step, nothing less. This is how I seek the best.
This has been a Think, Live, Be production.